Hi guys, Andy here. A slightly different video for you today. I've been wondering for a short while about doing more videos on kind of Android news, and this seemed like a good opportunity to make a quick video and give it a try and see what you guys think. So within the last hour or so, I received an email from Motorola saying that the new Moto G was on its way. Now, the first Moto G, for me, was one of the most amazing phones that we've seen in, well, I don't know, a very long time. The performance that was given from such a cheap device was just outstanding. The second gen was okay. I wasn't as blown away by it as the first. And then the third, for me, was a return to form by Motorola. So I'm very keen to see what they do with the fourth gen. Now, in the email, I've realised that actually there's two different versions of the phone. There's the Moto G4. And then if I can get it to switch, there we go. The Moto G4 Plus. So let's have a look at the first, the Moto G4. It looks fairly sort of standard Motorola or Moto G design even, not looking massively different from the third gen. As we scroll down, we see packed with a processor, display and memory built to keep up. And we're getting more to the specs shortly. All-day battery and turbo power keep you moving. It's a pretty pure Android operating system, which a lot of people prefer. Better pictures, better memories. I think it's a 13 megapixel camera in this one. They have the old Moto Maker. You can choose your color, you can have engravings, there's all sorts in that respect. And thin design. Let's just see what it says. Oh, it doesn't actually give you a measurement there, but that's fine. We're coming down to specifications. Let's move to the actual full specs down the bottom here. So I guess obviously it's running Marshmallow 6.0.1. The processor is up to a 1.5 GHz Qualcomm Snapdragon 617 octa-core processor with a 550 MHz Adreno 405. Sounds pretty good. 2 gig of RAM, yep, sounds pretty good to me. 16 gig or 32 gig internal with a micro SD card support. The depth 7.9mm to 9.8mm. Now that I find quite interesting. So obviously there's some options. With this saying up to the 1.5 GHz processor, that's obviously an option. The weight doesn't change, but the depth of the device does. Unless it's talking about where the camera is 9.8 and the rest of it is 7.9. I'm not sure what that means. The display is a 1080p display, 401 pixels per inch, pretty damn good. A 3000 milliamp hour battery sounds good to me as well. Water repellent nano coating, I would want to know a bit more about. SIM card, you can have micro SIM, nano SIM with an adapter, dual SIM. The camera is a 30 megapixel f2.0, so that's pretty good. The front facing is 5 megapixel with f2.2, sounds reasonable. So all of that looks pretty good. Obviously we've got no indication on price just yet. Let's switch over to the Moto G4 Plus. Now the first thing you might notice is there's a button front and center at the bottom, which wasn't on the regular. Go back up to the design. It's not on the regular Moto G4. So it has a button. It's got a 16 megapixel camera as opposed to the 13. That button is also a fingerprint reader, which personally I think you need to have these days. Even the cheap sort of Chinese budget phones for like, I don't know, £120 have fingerprint readers. What else is new to it? The same Moto Maker, pure Android. So we come down to the specifications of the G4 Plus, and you will note that the RAM, there's a 4 gig option. There's also a 64 gig ROM option. I think most of the rest, apart from the camera being a 16 megapixel, most of the rest of it looks to be very similar to me. So I'm guessing there'd be quite a few options then, sort of processor-wise, RAM-wise, storage-wise, in the Moto Maker store. So I'm really looking forward to see, I guess, really how the price changes as you go through those devices. Because to be honest, if you go the top-end processor with 4 gig of RAM and 64 gig internals, I mean, that's going to be, if it's anything like the previous Moto Gs, that's going to be a pretty stonking phone. I mean, you have to imagine you might be getting up around the £230, £250 mark, maybe. But then how much does the sort of almost bottom-end regular Moto G4, how much will that clock in at? You've got to hope it's down at around 120, 130. Now, all of this is just me guessing at this point. The email said, I believe it was May the 24th, that you can pre-order from the Moto Maker Motorola store, I will certainly be having a look. Although I don't, it's not going to replace my Note 5, but I'm really tempted to go for a top-end Moto G4 Plus with all the maxed out options just to see how good it is. But we'll have to wait and see what the price is as well, I think. So let me know your thoughts, A, on the Moto G4, and B, your thoughts on me doing these kind of videos, just kind of chatting about what's going on. I'd be really interested to hear what you think. For now, though, my name's Andy. I'll catch you all again soon.